A very good evening to you, and we welcome you to a brand new series of programs. And this is called Citizen, and we have commenced this program with you in mind. And this is all about the citizen, your role, your duties, and how important it is. So today with us in the studios is Professor H.W. Cyril. He was the former head of the Department of Animal Science at the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, and he is the chairman of the National Livestock Development Board. We're honored to have you here with us, Professor. And Professor, today we are going to talk about citizens and their role, their duties, and their responsibilities. Elections is just around the corner, and there are 15 million voters, and there are 1 million first-time voters, which is the interesting fact about this time's presidential elections. So citizens play a very crucial role in the country, a crucial role in terms of selecting who our next leader would be. So Professor, my first question to you would be about your view on the rules of how to make a good citizen. How can we be a good citizen? What's your view on it?
Citizenship is actually the common thread which connect the entire nation together. Then here we call Sri Lankan, right? Without citizen, there can't be a nation. And then citizen, the make the future of the country. That means the citizen have a big role to play. And even now, this is the very crucial time. They have a very big responsibility to select the future leader. And when they are selecting, they have to be very careful, and they have a very big responsibility, and they have to think so many factors. Then we have to think very seriously when you are going to decide how we can select the leader as a citizen. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is about how we could select a good leader as a citizen, which relates to the forthcoming election, which is to be held on the 16th of November. So in your opinion, what makes a good citizen, Professor?
Because when you are selecting the good citizen, that means to be a good citizen, we have to fulfill responsibilities. If you fulfill those responsibilities, that is the duty or the right of the citizen of the country. Then, for example, we should. Unfortunately, most of the citizens in our country, they doesn't know their rights as a citizen, right? Then first we should know our right as a citizen. If you know, then those rights we can work on those rights and make this country better place to live for every citizen. The first thing is at the moment is the freedom to express the views or the ideas. Then some citizen actually they doesn't know they have a right to do that. I think every citizen they have that right. Otherwise, you are not a citizen.
Exactly. Freedom of expression is important.
Very important. And even in this election, everybody, all the citizens, openly, they have to express their views, and they express their views to the other people even to the community. There should be a dialogue between people in the community. It will be a very friendly, not not to fight each other, having the different opinion. The expression of interest, it doesn't mean you can do anything you want. But when you live in the society, you have to have a very balanced ideas, which everybody agree.
Exactly. So to get to that, I think, Professor, now with technology and all that which is advanced, there are many people taking advantage of social media as well.
Yeah.
So since you did touch on the freedom of speech and freedom of expression, I think we see that a lot on social media. And with around 1 million first-time voters, I think it's very crucial because it's a decisive moment for the country. We're going to decide who our next leader is going to be in a few months. So obviously, I think the youth out there, they either haven't faced an election at all, or they would have seen a local government election but not voted for a presidential election. So with that in mind, Professor, can we, in a layman's point of view, explain the difference between the local government election and the presidential election?
Local government election and the president election, there's a lot of differences. And local government election mainly depend on the relationship between the candidates and the citizen. It can be there can be some relatives, or they belong to a particular race or the religion or the caste. Those are the main factors decide the voting pattern in the local election. But in the president election, is mainly depend on the party and the policies and what they are going to do after they win the election. Though other factors what we mentioned earlier, so there's some role, but major one is the individual person, his policies and his experience and his qualifications, and the people have some experience with the particular person. Those are the matters in the general elections. But local election, mainly some personal relationship most important. And actually in any election, the individual citizen, they have a big voice. No, their voice have a very strong effect, but very effective. But most of the citizens, they doesn't know the value or the strength of their voice. That's why normally this citizen doesn't make much voice. But when they make the voice, they can win their demand, and they can get done their work. Some people, especially people living in the cities, they know the value of the strength of the voice, people voice, citizen voice. And now, what, like you said, the social media, it play a very vital role in spreading the news and some ideas of the individuals and some organizations and some parties. Is a new way of communicating with the citizens and between the citizens. It's very good, it's a very
it's positive, it's good.
Positive, very good. But we have to be very careful, because like the traditional like televisions and the electronic media and the newspapers. There's some guideline and the rule and the regulations, and there's some
there are barriers.
Barriers.
Exactly.
And because of that, the everything they tell or the right, there's some fact and
there's some credibility.
Exactly. And there's somebody is responsible what they are telling. Social media also very good, very positive, and it spread the ideas very quickly throughout the country, but there's no much control or there's no guideline in that this media. Some of the the information they give can be later blackmail some people, and they can give some false information, and they can criticize very badly, even using the some information those are not correct.
Yeah, so there's no one to check, and you have all the freedom to do whatever you please. So, but still, Professor, and since we are on the topic of social media and freedom of expression and all that, and with 1 million first-time voters, obviously the youth are involved in this, and they're the future of the country, and they need to make a good decision here, and I think they can make a difference as well, Professor, as you did mention, because they are the ones mostly on social media, and they're the ones who are involved in spreading news and trying to spread awareness and all that. So as you did mention, every social media aspect, every technology, everything has ups and downs. So even social media and the ability to share is also very important to spread whatever we want to, or you can whatever you want to say. But since we are on this topic, Professor, I did kind of speak to a few people who they said that there are a lot of rules and regulations on Facebook itself. So I think it's crucial to mention at this juncture that if anybody comes across anything false on social media, they can report it. And it doesn't matter about the number of reports made, but if you report and if Facebook figures out that this is wrong information, they will take it down. So you spoke of the responsibilities of a citizen. So can you, in brief, explain about the responsibilities? What does a citizen hold? What is their right?
Oh, before go to that, our youth, they are intelligent and they are knowledgeable, and it's very difficult to convince them through this false information or but in any society there's some portion of the citizen they can believe that that is the danger. Otherwise even because they have a brain and they can think whether those information are correct or not. They can analyze the data or the content of the information. But unfortunate thing is some of the information given in the social media, like especially against some religions and some race, racialism, and those spread like a fire, very quickly.
That goes viral.
Why? It's like viral actually. Yeah. Then that is the danger. Even who read and see those, whether they believe or not, but it spread very quickly and all over the country. That is the danger of that. That's why there should be a control of those social media. I don't know how they are going to control it, but there should be a mechanism. The other question.
Yes, we'll have to touch on their responsibilities in brief. Now, we did speak about a citizen holding a lot of responsibilities,
Yeah.
but we didn't touch on what their responsibilities are in brief.
The other one is the expression of the, another one is the, we should have a freedom to worship, right? Any religion we believe, the Buddhist or Catholic or Muslim, we have to respect that. And everybody have a right to worship the religion they like. And believing or the worshipping the religion is your choice, right? Nobody can criticize. It's your right. Then at present, I think, especially young people, I think they knows that, but especially the older generation, they are more little, toward the racialist side, and they are more religious as well. But among the educated crowd and among the young people, I feel that they are more balanced, and we have to accept that everybody have a right to worship.
Yes, so since we spoke of people having the right to worship the religion they follow, and also we touched on youth being very knowledgeable and having the ability to share everything on social media, what would your message be to the youth? Because they can take it not only here, but they can take it outside of Colombo as well. Not only in Colombo, but outside of Colombo, where we require a lot of awareness as well, Professor. So what would your message be to the youth out there? How could they make a difference?
Yeah, actually now, up to some extent, the youth are involved in the social media, but unfortunate thing is their involvement is not enough, right? The young people especially, they feel those are business of the elderly people, and they have to make a decision and change those. No, I think youth, they have a big responsibility to change those. When the youth, they take this into their hand and try to change it, easy. Anything you want to change, I think if you approach through the youth, it's much easier, because if I tell the children, they listen it, but it's very difficult to change their mind, right? But if my children tell me something, I try to listen to that and change my ideas according to the children, because always the elderly people or the parents, they always ready and like to listen to their children, youth.
It's an emotional thing as well.
As well, and because that young people, they should know that they have big role, and they have capabilities, and they can do more effectively than the mature people. I think they should, even this social media issues, I think they have to take the responsibility and take some action on these issues.
Yes, since we've already seen a lot happening on social media lately, and it's good that there's a lot of rules and regulations put forward through Facebook, and they do look into this matter, and we can't just post anything which is not ethical as well that easily, because you have the ability to report it and it could be taken down. So Professor, you did mention that it's important that the youth play a big role in changing the mindset of the people in terms of building a better society and a better Sri Lanka, because we have 1 million new voters, and they are going to make a very crucial decision in terms of the presidential election as well. So we touched on the responsibilities, and we did speak about how they could spread awareness, but if you could touch on about selecting the candidates. Now, there's around 35 candidates who have handed over their nominations. And how could you select the best person, and how could they play that role properly?
As a citizen, these are some of the characters I think most important when you are selecting the person as a president of the country or leader of this country. The person should be follow the most democratic policies and management. It can't be a one-man show. Any individual doesn't have knowledge in all the subjects which help to develop this country. Then he have to get the support from the expert or the interest group in each field, like agriculture, industry, tourism, media, like that. And he should be listen to the people. That character is very important as a politician. If he behave like a dictator, then we have to be very careful. Every country who rule the dictators who rule the countries, there's no any development, because as a human, we like our freedom. Then that is the most important one part. Is he should be a democratic leader, should be able to listen to the people, and other one is he should be not corrupted, because in the political arena there's a big blame for all the politicians, and in the future I think we should select the leader who doesn't have any link in the past with the corruption, because corruption is the one of the factor which have a very negative effect on our development of the country. Then because that we have to select the person who is not involved. It's easy to know that even the young people, we can get some idea who is corrupted, and in the election where they spend the money, then you have to ask yourself from where they get the money, right? And the politician easily can go to that direction of corruption, because when they spend the money during the election, after come to the power, then they try to earn the money they spend during the election. Then because of that, we have to think their background, their wealth, and the way they spend the money on the election campaign. Then you can get some ideas. You don't have to depend on the social media or other media to get information. By studying yourself, you can get the idea about whether this person is corrupted or not. Then that is the second part. The person should be clean. Otherwise, the most of our development activities haven't reached the target, in the development target, because of the corruption involved in all the steps involved in the development activity. That is, when you think about the development, you have to select the person, clean person, not only that person, the people supporting around him, their families or their other party members. You have to study those individual who is supporting the candidate. Then you can get the clear some idea about the people, because after win, he is going to listen to those people and work with them. If you know them, they are involved in the corruption, and even this time, okay, this time also we will support him. If you support this time, they will do it they double the corruption next time, because people have voted for them. They think it doesn't mind, we are doing corruption. People approve that. Then next time they will double it or triple it.
So every citizen has the right to vote, and every citizen has the right to decide whom to select, and obviously it's for them, because we are the ones living in the country, and basically we have to be comfortable with who is ruling. So we've come to the final few minutes of the program, Professor. So since we're on the topic of voting and elections, let's talk about how important a vote is. Some people tend to protest and say, no, I'm not going to vote this time. Some people say that, I'd rather chop it off and then move out. I'm not going to be involved in this. So I think it's important that we mention at this point that everyone should vote, and everyone has the right to do that, and it's important. So what would your message be?
Yeah, voting is a very important, it decides the future of this country, the voting. If you are not voting, that means you are not the part of that process.
You're not a good citizen.
No, you are not a good citizen. If you are a good citizen, even to protest or to support, you have to vote. If you take the LPT, the election results, only 75% of the people voted. 25% they haven't voted. Maybe some due to some personal reason or various reason, but some people I know, they don't they vote to protest for the election. They said, everybody is same, I don't vote waste. No, actually, if you don't vote, that means you are wasting the opportunity. You have to change the system. If you have showed your if you are against, then you have to vote for the other person to show that you are against that particular person. Then you have to vote for other person. Even maybe that person was not perfect, but comparatively you can think this party is little better than the other party. Then if you vote to that party, then that vote have some value. If you don't vote, there is no value at all. And if you stay at home without voting, it's not a protest. If you protest, you have to show that. Even you can just cancel the vote. Then there's a reject vote, a number of reject vote. It shows some people are against the entire system. That means you have to express your right. Then that is very important, and even we think voting is just vote. No, that will help to decide the development policies and the development activities of the country. Your vote, that will help. If you don't vote, you are not the part of the nation, or you are not the citizen of this country. Right? If you are a citizen, you have a right and you have a responsibility to make this country better place to live. You have to vote, and if you vote, your vote decide the policies for the future generation. Then there's no excuse, and the voting should must. I say you are right. If you don't utilize your powers to change the system or to contribute to the development, you have to vote.
So that would be a message to the general public, because this program focuses on citizens and it's about the responsibilities of the citizen. And with the election around the corner, it's crucial that we mention their right to vote and how important their vote is. So thank you very much, Professor, for touching on very important topics like social media and about the problems and issues and how the youth can actually educate their mature people or their parents and the mature crowd of the country in terms of making this a better Sri Lanka. So that's the whole idea of this program as well. So thank you very much. And we understand that we need a leader who would not actually be someone who would be against following a religion, as well as you mentioned. So those are some points even the youth should take into consideration. And thank you so much, Professor, for touching on all those important topics.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And with that, it's time for us to wind up today's edition of Citizen. And this program is all about you, and we will be bringing you a series of programs in terms of educating the general public on their rights and what their responsibilities are. We were in conversation with Professor H.W. Cyril. He was the former head of the Department of Animal Science and Faculty of Agriculture to the University of Peradeniya and the current chairman of National Livestock Development Board. With that, it's time for us to wind up Citizen this evening.